Melissa, thank you. This afternoon, we are continuing our coverage of a breaking news story we first told you about last night at 5. A couple convicted in murders of a Bedford County couple in 1985 are being set free. The state parole board granted both Jens Soring and Elizabeth Haysom parole. The two were convicted in the stabbing deaths of Haysom's parents at their home. Authorities say Haysom convicted her boyfriend, or rather convinced her boyfriend, to kill her parents. In 2011, Soring told ABC 13's Noreen Turin about what he says really happened.
It's always been my position since the late 1980s that Elizabeth committed the crime with an accomplice other than myself at the crime scene.
According to the parole board, Haysom and Soring will be handed over to ICE to be deported to their respective countries of Canada and Germany. Neither of them will be allowed in the U.S. again. In January, Virginia's state board turned down Soring's 14th parole request. In his pardon application, Soring wrote that DNA evidence proved his innocence. It showed that some of the type O blood found at the scene did not belong to Soring. It also didn't match Elizabeth Haysom's blood type. That DNA evidence have many questioning if Soring has been telling the truth the whole time.
I remember sitting down with my dad and watching a lot of the trial on TV, which was a big deal for us. We never had anything of that type in our area before. The reason I'm scratching my head is who did it?
It seemed like enough evidence was there to merit his release after so many years, to have him return to Germany and let him, be free.
The chair of the Virginia Parole Board, Adrian Bennett, talked about the decision to release Haysom and Soring. Bennett said, quote, "They are both now in their mid-50s and have served over 33 years for the horrific crimes that they committed. Their release and permanent expulsion from the United States is a tremendous cost benefit to the taxpayers of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we have determined that their release does not pose a risk to public safety." Now, Congressman Ben Cline is also speaking out. He represents the 6th District, which covers Bedford County, where these murders took place. He says the killers had no remorse for their crimes, and this decision is an insult to the victims' families.
It is the wrong decision the parole board made, and I'm very disappointed.
You can read all the stories we've done on this case right now on WSET.com and our ABC 13 app. Just search Jens Soring. We're going to continuing coverage now of a murder suspect wanted out of Franklin County. New court documents are giving us more background on Michael Brown. Documents from 2006 show Rodney Brown had been charged with child abuse and neglect. However, those charges were later dropped. Rodney was Michael's adoptive father, who he's accused of killing. Although the charges didn't involve Michael, he and one of Rodney's children were placed in foster care at the time. You can read the court document on our website, WSET.com. And meanwhile, Brown was last spotted in Roanoke. If you see him and know where he may be, call 911. New at noon, the White House and U.S. Capitol went on a temporary lockdown this morning after a plane came into a restricted airspace near the nation's capital. 2 U.S. officials say there was no threat and everything was cleared. Reporters at the White House were kept inside the briefing room for about 40 minutes. No one was allowed to enter the grounds during that lockdown. All right, so millions of people will be traveling for the holidays over the next couple of days. Right now, you're getting a live look from Denver, Colorado, where it is snowing hard. As David Curley reports, 2 major storm systems are expected to cause big problems.